Welcome back. Now, Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa is facing a fresh bid to unseat him from office. This time, though, it's from an unlikely source. Zanu-PF youth member Sybeth Musengezi has approached the Bulawayo High Court seeking the nullification of Zanu-PF's 19 November 2017 special session of the Central Committee meeting, which elected Mnangagwa as the incumbent president. The court application was filed this week on Wednesday by Musengezi and cites Zanu-PF as the first respondent and Mnangagwa as the second respondent alongside 4 other senior party officials. To tell us more about why this application was put through, I spoke to Sybeth Musengezi a little earlier. This week, you went to the High Court and put an application before the court. What's this application all about?
The application basically is about the illegal ascendancy to power of the current president and first secretary of Zanu-PF, who is also the president of Zimbabwe, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, and his associates. You know, these comrades, they organized a kangaroo meeting at our party headquarters to implement their strategy of toppling Comrade Mugabe from the position of president and first secretary of Zanu-PF. They convened a purported special session of the Central Committee on Sunday, the 19th of November, 2017. Now, the issue is that all of this was done outside the provisions of the party's constitution, because the constitution clearly stipulates that only the Secretary of Administration is the only one who could convene lawfully a session of the Central Committee in the exercise of his or her powers under Article 9, Section 48 of the Zanu-PF Constitution. But unfortunately, for reasons known to the individuals who convened the meeting, the Secretary of Administration did not convene the session of the Central Committee. And according to their resolution document, that is the minutes of that meeting, they said that the special meeting was sitting purportedly in terms of Article 7, Section 37.7 of the party's constitution. But they violated the same constitution left, right, and center during that meeting. That meeting had a string of illegalities, deceit, and lies. Number one, Comrade Patrick Shinamasa, as the Secretary for Legal Affairs, he had no power whatsoever to convene the central meeting. Secondly, Comrade Obed Mpofu had no power whatsoever to preside over the Central Committee meeting, as our Constitution clearly states that only the first Secretary and President can preside over the Central Committee meeting. In his absence, one of the second secretaries should preside. In their absence, only and lastly, the chairman should preside over the Central Committee meeting. Nowhere in our Constitution does it state that the Central Committee members could elect one of their own to preside over the meeting. But anyway, let's just assume that Comrade Mugabe was incapacitated to preside over that meeting. There was his legitimate vice secretary, Comrade Pelekezela Mpoko, who could have chaired that Central Committee meeting. I am sure he was very much available and he was ready to preside over a legitimate Central Committee meeting. In his absence, no one else, according to our Constitution, could preside because the co-vice president at that time, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, had been fired and we had no chairman since 2014. So only those two, Comrade Mugabe and Comrade Pelekezela Mpoko, could preside over a legitimate Central Committee meeting. But to justify their illegalities in the eyes of us, the members, they lied that the absent leaders were incapacitated to perform their duties. But that was a complete lie. Because President Mugabe had just kept the hundreds of students at the Zimbabwe Open University, and it's all captured on the videos. Therefore, he could possibly not fail to chair a simple Central Committee meeting. Also, Comrade Mugabe made a very long speech, if you remember the famous Asante Sana speech. Yes.
So I mean,
that was a complete lie.
Okay, so as I listen to you, I think what you're basically doing is listing a litany of failures in terms of procedure. So the question must be then, are you saying that you're the only one that's picked it up, or that everybody is aware of it, but they've chosen to ignore the errors?
I'm sure everyone is aware. Even those illegitimate reported Central Committee meeting was an illegal gathering. It was actually a kangaroo meeting, and everyone in Zanu-PF knows that. But people, maybe they just chose to keep quiet.
So what do you want the court to do? What do you want the court to do?
The court, we are just, I'm just simply asking the court to declare null and void that reported Central Committee meeting that they held on the 19th of November 2017, because it was in clear violation of our constitution. I am also seeking the same court to declare invalid and illegal all the resolutions passed in that kangaroo meeting. And lastly, I'm asking the court to direct Comrade Pelegezi Rampoko as the legitimate second secretary of the party prior to the 2017 meeting to convene and preside over a special congress within 3 months, within the coming within the 3 months of granting of the order, so that we can simply regularize our top leadership positions, including that of the one that is occupied by Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa.
When you say regularize, are you saying that you want the president removed as president of the party or president of the country as well? Is it just party issues that you're concerned with at this stage?
Okay, let me put it this way. These guys, they cheated their way to power, right? So I'm not asking that Comrade Mnangagwa be removed per se, but I want us to have legitimate leaders who are properly and constitutionally elected. If the special session is convened constitutionally, Comrade Mnangagwa will be, if he wins. But if he loses, then obviously you'll be going, to probably to his farm, or because we will automatically recall him from the state presidents, and probably we can reassign him to a less demanding job, suitable for someone of his age, because we obviously need his experience.
Your call for this regularization of the party leadership, is this something that enjoys support from other members in the party, particularly the Youth League, or is it just you and a few lone voices?
Almost, in fact, a lot of people in Zanu-PF are very excited with this application. I never imagined the level of support that I have so far received from current and previous Zanu-PF members, including some people sitting in the Politburo right now at the Central Committee. That's the surprising part. So sometimes you wonder, the same people who are sitting with Emmerson Mnangagwa are calling me in support to say that was a brave move. We are fully behind you. It's quite tremendous. And a lot of Zanu-PF leaders and members from almost all provinces are very much excited with the move. Who doesn't want constitutionality? Everyone does. They want the best for their political parties.
All right.
I've never...
Let's talk frankly here, because the way you started, it sounded as if that you were quite upset with the way that President Mugabe was removed. Are you saying that you would have preferred that he stay in power?
No, I'm not saying that. If you listened to our former President Robert Mugabe's Asante Sana speech, he said he was ready to preside over a legal Central Committee meeting in a few weeks. If we didn't no longer want Comrade Mugabe to be the president, the issue should have been raised in that specific Central Committee meeting it was supposed to be put on the agenda while he or his deputy, Comrade Pelekezela Mpoko, were presiding over that meeting. Then people would have voted. If a majority would have voted in favor of Comrade Mugabe being removed, I wouldn't have a problem with that. My problem is coming from violating our constitution, not from Comrade Robert Mugabe being removed from power.
So are you suggesting that President Mnangagwa and others essentially staged a coup?
It was a political coup, yes, because they convened an illegal meeting to remove a constitutionally elected first secretary and president of our party. So yes, it was a political coup. Comrade Mnangagwa and his other, the central committee, the illegal central committee members who passed that resolution, yes, I can confirm that.
Would you like there to be a change in leadership? I know that you would stand by whatever the party votes, but what would be your preference?
I would put it this way. I want our leaders to follow the constitution of our party in regularizing those leadership positions. But as a youth, I also want to be given a chance to choose my preferred leader, whom I believe will take Zimbabwe to better levels economically and socially. But if my choice doesn't fall on the side of the majority, I will gladly accept the results. But what I want is the leadership to represent the wishes and choices of Zanu-PF members, not the current state of us having an imposed leader. Comrade Mnangagwa was imposed on us by an illegal central committee meeting. But if the people choose him in a constitutionally presided CC meeting, then I will gladly accept the results.
But he won an election. I mean, isn't that a de facto choosing of President Mnangagwa as the preferred choice for the party leadership?
We voted for our party. Obviously, I wouldn't want my party to lose an election. So we didn't have a choice. That was the only person who was on the ballot paper representing Zanu-PF. So we had to vote for him. We had to vote for a Zanu-PF representative. And at that time, some of us, we actually had, gone through the resolutions of that central committee meeting and probably the constitution. But now that we are aware there is an illegality, it has to be solved.
The majority of members in Zanu-PF, are they still behind President Mnangagwa as leader of the party? Because if they are, then there really is no point in going through a whole special Congress if he is the most popular person. If he isn't, then what you're trying to do then perhaps has some legs.
These guys, after they, illegally took over power, they have a string of unconstitutionalities. They are afraid of holding elections. Our provinces, they expired in 2017, but up to now, we don't have solid provinces. They are just co-opting their allies into those provinces because they are afraid of having elections. And we were supposed to have a Congress in 2019, according to the Zanu-PF constitution, but that Congress was postponed to 2022. That's another illegality. They are afraid of holding elections. If you are popular with the people, why would you be afraid to hold an election?
Sybeth Musengezi, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very, very much indeed for joining us and explaining to us this cause that you've taken up to regularize the leadership positions in your party. Thank you for your time.